Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone video. But this video folks is special. Oh my god, this is so special. This is by far the biggest game changer you will ever get for the Days Gone game. What if I was to tell you that from the very start, after you've just visited Copeland's camp for the very first time, when you basically first have the map at your disposal, that you can actually leave Cascade, get all the way over to Lost Lake, then get all the way over to Iron Butte and pick up two fantastic weapons, and then get back very easily to Cascade again in order to start your campaign. Yeah, sounds too good to be true? Well, not anymore. Now, before I get to the action, a couple of shout outs have to be made here, because without these two gamers' inputs, I would not have been able to make this video. Now, the first one goes to Greyghost Gamerz, an absolute legend in the Days Gone community, and sir, thank you so much for finding the way in order to get from Cascade to Lost Lake. This has been the biggest problem everybody has had so far, and there's been a lot of us looking for methods in order to get over to Iron Butte. I simply didn't think of actually trying to get from Cascade to Lost Lake. I had always been looking to get from Belknap straight into Iron Butte. I'd simply been looking the wrong way. Now, this second shout out has to go to PS5Secrets, because without this gent's input, again, this simply wouldn't have been able to happen, because this was the first gent that managed to find a way to get from Lost Lake into Iron Butte way before you're supposed to, in fact, as soon as you get to Lost Lake. So now that Greyghost Gamerz has found a way to get to Lost Lake, and I'm going off PS5Secrets' way of getting into Iron Butte, you can get straight over there, pick up two fantastic weapons, and get back very easily. So, want to know how it's all done? I'm going to show you all right now. Right then folks, here we go. Not really too much to tell at this point, other than the fact that I have just arrived at Copeland's camp, and I've basically been given a loaner bike from Manny, and this is the first time where you actually have the chance to move around the map properly, where you can go to anywhere you like in Cascade, or Belknap for that matter. And just going to show very quickly on the map exactly what has been opened up. As you can see, virtually nothing, just the areas that I've already been to, like Crazy Willie's and whatnot. And as you can see, first mission right there, bugged the hell out. Yeah, the Nero checkpoint I haven't even opened yet. But before I do anything else, the first thing I want to do is to change the cycle from night to day, because it's going to be a damn sight safer. So I'm just going to speed this on a touch here, folks. Right, now that we have it to daytime, I am going to bring up the map and show exactly where I need to be going to first, because the area that I'm going to be going to is not very far away at all from Copeland's camp. In fact, it's ridiculously close. So, bringing up the map here, just going to zoom in. The first thing that I'm going to do is move down to there, and then from there, just a little bit further down. It's almost like, it's not quite a 45-degree angle from Copeland's, but it's not that far from it, but roughly about there. Basically, the path that it shows you to take is the most important thing here, because once I get near that point, I'll basically give a little bit more detail as exactly what you're looking for. So, here we go. Yep, and of course, because I've just pretty much started the game, I'm about 1 hour in at this point. Yeah, you're going to get all these things come up. But yep, just to the right of the bonfire over there. Now, I'm obviously not playing on Survivor 2 because I've got the mini-map in view, but that's very handy to show. I'm just heading up here now. Once I turn to the right here, you'll see over there a small rock, basically on my left. After that, you see a bigger rock. Now, if you keep going a bit further on, it is quite literally up around this area right here. Okay, so I'm pretty much set, but before I start this climb, I do want to bring up the map, because over the course of this trip, I'm going to show a number of very strategic points that you need to get to, which will make this job as easy as possible. The first part that I need to mark on the map is basically by first going up to O'Leary Mountain Safe House and then dropping the cursor as far as it will go. As soon as it stops, mark it. That's it. That is the first area that you are looking to get to. So now that I've done that, this is the first important part. It's the climb. Now I'm not using any acceleration, and just watch the line that I use on the rock, because it pretty much shows you the way here. Yep, no problems here. And a word to all PC users: if you're looking to do this, you won't be able to climb using the bike until you've hit the caps lock button. So just make sure you do that. Now that I've got up onto this area, I'm looking to go along so far round about here, and from here I'm looking to actually drop, because if you keep on the high ground for so long, you will see a screen prompt that comes up that says leaving game area, and if you do see that, you need to basically go to Deacon's left in order to avoid it. But I'm well past that area now. Now it gets easier. I'm looking for this section up here, and of course, because I've already got the marker in place, I'm going to have no trouble at all in finding where I need to get to. I'm just following along here because it's a nice easy way. It almost like it's like the top section of these hills, and that's it. I've reached the point of the marker, so I'm just going to stop right there, and then I'm going to look over to my right, because there is a big hill right over there. And I'm just going to bring up on the map exactly where I am right now. I cannot mark the next point, but I'm not worried about that at all, because it is very easy to get to the next spot. It's quite literally a case of turning deep to the right, and then from here, just heading up this section here, which pretty much looks like a ski slope with trees on it. Because as you can see, there's lines on this particular one, so all you need to do is just keep climbing. And the lines, of course, keep you going in the right direction. It's only when you get near the very top that you need to start looking for a particular section. It's not difficult to find. It's right here. Once you get here, just take a look at that view. And that is Iron Mike's house over there. I'll be round for tea later, mate. Anyhow, last spot on the map that needs to be marked. But before I mark this, I want to show something. Whenever you bring up the map, you can move the cursor left or right, no problem. But as soon as you try and go up and down, all of a sudden, it's locked. Do not panic if that happens. Just simply come out of the map, and then basically go back in again, and you can basically move left or right from where Deek's position is. Now this is how you get the precise measurement for this. Move the cursor along to the left, and then you'll see right up there, that is Copeland's camp, and you can actually see the cursor line is basically over the far left hand side of that Copeland's camp there, and that is where you mark on the map in order to get to the last section, because otherwise this part can be quite tricky. And what I like to do here is, there is a nice line of trees just round about right there. Yeah, I just make sure to be slightly to the right of those to start with. And yeah, it glitched very slightly, but don't worry about that. That's as bad as it gets. From here, I'm just heading over this way. Now, normally, you'd be having to look out for a lot of certain things, but because I've got this marked on the map, it's not a problem. I'm showing you all exactly where you need to be going to, because this is hugely important. If you try this without all these markings, trust me, it's not easy. But there we go. I've come to my destination, and I'm just going to bring up the map again, and again I'm going to mark another spot, because the area that I'm looking to get to next is right over there. That is basically the area that separates Lost Lake from Iron Butte. But I've now got to get down, and this one is really kind of a strange one. I'm first of all looking to get the bike down onto this set of rocks right here, and from here I'm basically, it's almost like a leap of faith this. Start moving out that way, the bike will go for so long, and then you'll start to feel it fall in properly, and at that point make sure that both of the tyres basically land together like that. The bike will take a fair old bit of damage, but the main thing here is that Deacon doesn't. Because obviously if you have a bad landing, yeah, Deacon will die and you're right back at Cascade. So I'm just making a point here of getting well out of the way of the Marauders, because I've got bigger things here to show. I'm not interested in engaging the Marauders, but first of all, get that bike sorted. And now I'm heading over to the next section, which is basically the entryway to get into Iron Butte. Now, of course, at this stage in the game, I have no right even being in Lost Lake, let alone Iron Butte. But I have showed in another video exactly how to get into the Iron Butte region. And I probably do show in a little bit more detail, but I'm going to show the easiest method there is on this particular run here. And for fuck's sake, more Marauders! I just can't get away from them at the moment. It's unbelievable. But I'm just driving through, albeit very fucking slowly, because I have the worst possible bike. And very important here, stop. Get fuel for the bike. Very important. Thankfully, on this particular run, there is plenty of areas to get fuel, so it's never going to be a problem. So now that that's done, yep, thank you very much. Back on the bike, and now we're heading over to the entryway into Iron Butte. And again, this is all very, very surreal, because I'm barely, what, an hour and 20 minutes into the game if you're lucky, and I'm already about to get my hands on a US556 and an MG45. But first of all, there is another rock climb to take care of, and this is the easiest way to get it done. You really do have to watch the line, very important. Start this way, and again, I'm using no acceleration, I'm just walking up this rock section with Deacon, and I'm looking at this point to try and get over onto that other rock section round about there, and that's it. It's a nice easy transition if you do it that way. So, and I'm very pleased to say the second part of this is a lot easier. It just, again, involves getting Deacon going up this way, and when I get to a certain section, it's just round about this section here. I need to turn the bike a tad left. Yep, that's the angle you want to be going up. And there we go. That is me now into Iron Butte, all the way from Cascade. Holy shit. Now, again, in order to keep this pretty concise in terms of exactly where I'm going and what needs to be marked on the map, you need to do it in a slightly different way to what I've shown in other videos. I've shown the areas there, and I'm looking ahead along this road. Now, when I see that rock right over there, yep, that is basically my cue to just stop the bike, and then again, I'm going to bring the map on screen. And from here, just making sure to move the cursor over to my left. And over there, that is the location of the Iron Butte horde. So, I've got that marked on the map, so let's head over there. And of course, because it's the daytime, I'm not going to have too much in the way of issues with too many freakers and that being about. You might get the odd ambush, but normally you don't get that much in Iron Butte, certainly not when heading over this way. So, as you can see, I'm not that far away. I'm just following the map right now. For people who are very familiar with the Iron Butte region, you probably won't even need to mark on the map where you're going. But for most people, and I'll be perfectly honest, my sense of direction is pretty piss poor on this game, so this is a huge help for me. But I like to show all these spots to be marked, so that even if you're playing on Survivor 2, you can bring up the minimap very briefly, so you can still always see where you're going. But if you have these markers in place every time, you can just start going cross country as well. So here we are, the Iron Butte Ranch, and I'm looking to park the bike at a very specific spot, and I purely park it in this spot just to aid me with the next marker that I'm going to place on the map. So this will do very nicely here. Yep, saving game up bike. You get a lot of these prompts coming up on screen. So the first weapon that I'm looking to get my hands on, and I don't have to do anything for it other than go over and grab it, is the US556. It's right over, and look at that. That is the Iron Butte horde. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, folks. You see, if I was starting a new playthrough and I was starting off doing this, I'd take out the Iron Butte horde right here and now, because that is 300 free careers right from the get-go. Basically, once you get back to Cascade, you could just hand them all in as bounties, and then you've got an insane amount of credits at Copeland's camp straight away. Well, whatever you get for 300, it's certainly not going to be too bad, that's for sure. So now that I've got the US556, all I want to do is to move the marker over to my right, to basically right over there. That will get me pretty close to where I was before. So, again, this place is deserted, so it's it's a pretty safe journey. And also worth knowing, folks, if you're wanting to stay in this area for a while and just take in the scenery, take in the sights, it's worth doing, because there are certain areas on this particular region which do change a touch over the course of the game. I'm not saying in what way or what areas, because I'm not giving out any spoilers here. I want everybody to enjoy this game, but yeah, it's definitely an area to check out once you're in it. But right now I'm looking to head over to the area that I've got marked on the map, because once I get to this particular area, all I have to do is to basically turn right and then follow the road for a very short distance in order to get to the Nero checkpoint, which basically has the second weapon that I'm looking to obtain. So here we are. This is when you know you're at the right spot. You've got that house there on the left, and you come to this crossroads section here, the house there to the right, and yeah, from here I do not have the luxury of being able to mark down on the map. As you can see there, as soon as I tried to press down, it jumped the cursor up. So from here it is quite simply a case of turning to the right and then just following this road for a very brief period. Yep, I'm looking to stop the bike right around here. And here we are. This is the Rogue Tunnel Nero checkpoint. Now, it's worth knowing that there are two ways in which you can get the job done here. You can basically take out the entire area and then open up the Nero checkpoint facilities, or you can go in and take out the minimal amount of rippers possible. And you could basically do this by just taking out two. There is one ripper, unfortunately, that you're simply going to have to take out before you get a chance at the heavy. But this is the route that I recommend that you take if you're just looking to get in and out quickly. Now, on this video, I am actually going to take out all of these guys, and I probably won't actually show all of that action just to speed up the video a touch, but I am going to show the way in order to get the weapon by taking out very few rippers indeed. Because basically it's over in this section here. The Ripper Heavy is always patrolling over this area, but there is one Ripper at this particular point over here, and there he is. I was wondering whether he'd maybe drop down into the other section, but no. So this one I just want to take out nice and quietly, and then from here, yeah, now I've got this this Ripper Heavy pretty much all to myself. Now, I always recommend before taking on this Ripper Heavy to get some form of protection, hence why I'm going beside this car. It's not going to stop everything, but it's going to make me damn difficult to hit, and I just go for headshots with that Heavy, and that's him done and dusted. And this one here, you know what, it's just starting to annoy me here, so I'll just go for some body shots. You will get the rest of the Rippers heading over to this position, or the ones certainly nearby. But there we go, that will do the job nicely here. I'm just going to take the time now, head over here, get this weapon, and at this point I've got two options. I can either just run away from the camp in the direction that I came into it from, or I can take out the rest of these Rippers and open up this Nero checkpoint. So that's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to take all this lot out, and I'll get to opening up the Nero checkpoint. So I'm just going to speed the video along just a wee touch here, folks. Okay, so at this point I've just about got all the rippers taken care of. That is the very last one. Okay. Now I need to take out all the speakers in order to open up this Nero checkpoint safely. So the first two buildings over here, there is 4 speakers, which I'm going to take care of right now. I'm not even going to use the knife. It's like, screw it. You can do it quicker just by using the gun. Right, there we go. That's the first 4. Now, there is another 2 that are on the nearby lighting system in here. First one, right up there. And then there is a set of lights on the other side of the road. A little bit further over this way. Yeah, right there. And there is one more speaker, and it's right at the very front of this camp. There we go. Okay, at this point all I need to do now is get some petrol, and that's not an issue because the petrol is right in this vehicle here. Here we go. There is actually another can, but that's the easiest one to get a hold of here. So just heading over to the generator now. It's the usual MO, just getting the petrol in this thing, and you don't even need to bother looking for fuses on this particular Nero site, so happy days. It's quite a quick one to get going. Obviously, once you know exactly what you're doing on it. Busted. So I'll hit this once and then it won't quite start, but it's just a quick fix from Deacon here. Yeah. And now we're in business. And the building that I have to go to in order to unlock all this properly is right up here. It's the building at the very back here. So once again in here, just looking for, the box. And this will be the very first one that I've opened in this entire game, so I'm going to go for focus. That's always my biggest priority when I'm looking to stock up on injectors. And there we go. That is the Nero checkpoint taken care of. So, now that that is done, the next thing that I want to do is to grab the petrol can, because this is very important. I need the petrol in order to refill the bike, because at this point now my job is just about done, or at least it's just about done if I'm playing on normal difficulty or hard or even hard 2. As long as I'm not playing on survivor, all I've now got to do is to get the bike fully refueled, and then I can simply fast travel back to Copeland's camp. Right then, folks, at this point, if you have the luxury of fast travel, your job is just about done. All you need to do is go over to Copeland's camp, press the square button for fast travel, and that's it. You're done. However, if you're playing on Survivor, you're not going to have that luxury. So, this is how you get back if you're playing on Survivor or Survivor 2. Nice and easy from here. I'm just basically turning the bike around, and the first thing that I'm doing, and I can't even mark this on the map because of the limitations with the cursor, but I'm just basically following this road until I get back to the Iron Butte entrance and exit point. And thankfully it's not a very long journey in order to get back to this section here. So there we are, very familiar part here. The gates, obviously, I cannot get past there. So it's basically getting back down the same way, sort of, that I came up. So heading up here, then I'm looking to head over to this section here. And then from here, it's 2 drops. Again, just making sure when you go off, make sure that that bike lands with both tyres on the ground at the same time for minimal damage. Especially to Deacon. But they are really small jumps, so really not too much of an issue at all. Now, once I get over this bridge, again I'm going to stop the bike very briefly because there is more fuel here. Obviously, because I am using the absolute worst bike with no upgrades whatsoever, you really do have to watch what you're doing with the fuel. So now that's taken care of, back on the bike, and there is just one final area that I now need to mark. And yes, you all guessed it, it's Copeland's camp. It's the nearest camp that I can possibly get to, and obviously I would like to get some more ammunition for the 2 guns that I've just recently acquired. So once I've got that marked on the map, that is it. That is my direction shown for me. Even if I was on Survivor 2, I wouldn't have the luxury of the minimap all the time, but I could bring it up on screen at points. But anybody who is even remotely familiar with Lost Lake, from here, getting to Cascade, and bloody hell, more fucking marauders, they just won't leave me alone. The journey is an exceptionally easy one. So at this point I'm just, I am going to show this entire journey back, because a lot of people might be wondering, yeah, when you try and get into Lost Lake via Cascade, you get the screen prompt coming on in a particular section basically saying leaving game area, something like that. Well, it's a lot of people will be wondering, well, what happens when you're trying to get back from Lost Lake? So hence I want to show this entire trip going back. So yeah, this video is going to be just about done and dusted in a few minutes. So there's 1 or 2 things that I do want to point out as well, because although Greyghost Gamerz has very recently shown this, and a fantastic video, he actually goes a touch further than what I do, because from Iron Butte he actually shows how to get to the south. Now I simply haven't bothered doing that, because although there is a fantastic melee weapon that you can get your hands on, which is the superior metal axe, I'll be perfectly honest folks, once I've got the flipping US556 and the MG45, do I really need that fucking melee weapon? Not really, and my playstyle doesn't really go very much in the way of melee at all. Now, there may come a time that I may choose to show getting to the south from the Iron Butte area in a fashion similar to what I've shown on this video in terms of having it well mapped and whatnot. But until then, just check out the fantastic videos on Greyghost Gamerz and PS5Secrets channels. They are superb, the pair of them. Now, I am getting very close to the area that you would normally see the leaving playable area prompt come up, but you'll actually see exactly what happens if you're coming back this way, because right now, and I haven't done a thing on screen there, that just stopped all of a sudden like that, and that's where it has basically put me at now. So just going to get back on the bike, bring up the map again just to see exactly where I am, and as you can see, the game hasn't advanced me on very far at all. Lucky if it was about 200 meters, but never mind. It's no problem. I just wanted to demonstrate that if you're playing in Survivor 2, it would still be no problem at all getting back to Copeland's camp. And I'm just about there, so... And what do you know, another fucking marauder. There's a fucking shocker. I've had my fair share of them in this video, that's for sure. Now, I don't have nitros, so I have to go over that bridge section there. And just about back at the camp now, so that is a job very well done indeed. And look at that folks, inside about 30-35 minutes of reaching Copeland's camp, I now have 2 of the fucking best weapons in the game. So it's just advantages upon advantages that you're going to get by doing this. If I had taken the time to take out the Iron Butte horde, I would have had 300 free careers to hand in here. I chose not to do it just basically to cut down the time on the video, to be quite honest folks, but this would be the last thing that you would basically do, and it's just basically getting these bad boys stocked up on ammo. Right then folks, finally before I finish this video, just wanted to point out a couple of things. The first thing is to remember that the US556 and the MG45, once you have them, you really have to keep a hold of them, because they will not be available in your locker. You haven't basically purchased them from a vendor, and you haven't unlocked them in the Days Gone game. So do bear that in mind. If you want to use other weapons, then you've got some tricky decisions to make. But I'm now just showing the map here to just highlight the fact that this map has barely been touched. I have got all this to work on now with the use of these two fantastic weapons. And also worth knowing, how easy is it now going to be to take out 4 bloody hordes in order to get the SMP-9? This is truly a game changer, folks. And finally, folks, the Iron Butte checkpoint that was unlocked by myself in this video, I still cannot use to actually get back to via fast travel because the cursor does not go down far enough. Basically, until you unlock the Lost Lake region, you simply can't have access to that, so worth knowing. And that brings me very nicely to the end of this video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.